Okay, click to mute. No, now it says mute. No good. Okay, but what do I have to be? Unmute, right? Then I have to go. Again, but it goes to mute. All right, now it says mute. Talk.
I can hear you. I can hear you. Testing, testing. Hello, everybody.
Oh, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Well, you're on the phone with me too, so either way, I can.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I just make sure. Oh, God. Okay. So we're on a little early then. That's okay.
Yeah.
All right, but you can't say anything. Right, so let's just leave it. So no, in other words, it didn't come in that Angel's running this meeting, right? It just
No.
popped in the screen. I came up and the guy next to me.
Right.
Right,
We're waiting for the rest of them, so.
okay, all right. We're here.
All right.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
J'ai compris, moi. Il t'entends pas qu'est-ce qu'il dit? Oui, j'entends. OK. Ça comprendre ça. Il n'y a pas grand monde connecté.
C'est Joanne, puis
Ben, t'es là tout à l'heure, là. Et puis,
Kiki, là.
c'est quand même à 15 minutes. Là.
Hello, everyone. Good evening from Washington, D.C.
Hi, Claudia. Joanne,
Hi,
how are you?
who's this?
Joanne.
Oh, hi, from New York? Are you in New York?
Yeah, we're here, yeah.
Okay, my blessings to New York. You know, New York is in my heart. And I was watching the protests in Staten Island last night.
It was bad, yeah.
Yeah,
Terrible.
so
But it
I
was
feel,
very peaceful.
yeah, it was peaceful, respectful, and everything, but it broke my heart in a way to see people with this cold weather because it's almost winter, you know, up there, and feeling together as a community in a time of isolation. You know, this pandemic, a lot of people feel isolated and disconnected and not heard. So when they gather like that, it actually, and it's a risk because, you know, COVID is out there.
Right,
I just
exactly,
feel very
right,
strongly about
right.
everything going on.
But they're
So
fighting for what they believe in, so.
yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. I know. But
mm.
New York did very well managing this crisis.
Not really. I mean, the first time it was a horror. We weren't here, though. This time it's there.
Yeah,
Every
but
day
I
it's
mean,
a different restriction, so.
true, true. But compared to where they were and where, you know, how they brought
Oh,
down,
yeah, that passed. But now we're back again. We're creeping up slowly.
I know. And the economic harm is serious now. So that's the other part of it, the
Yeah,
economic situation.
yeah. Well,
Anyway,
we hope for
good
the
to hear
best.
you. I see you half of your face. That's why I didn't know who was talking.
Oh, yeah, I was this way,
You're
yeah.
not totally in front of the camera.
I'm waiting
Yeah.
for Jack, so he'll sit here, yeah.
No, I see you now, yes. But
Mm.
when you move, I see your door and your wall
Right,
and the outlet.
right, yeah.
Okay. Tyler, hi, I'm Claudia.
Hello, Claudia. How are you?
I am good. I am good. I can't.
Tell him
Excellent.
where you own, so he knows who you are.
What's that?
I was gonna say, she was gonna tell you where she owns in the building, 10,
1004. I'm on the
right,
same floor that,
Joanne.
yes, Joanne is on the same floor, but on a different wing.
Different wing. Okay.
I face the, well, I
You're
don't
east
ever,
facing.
well, I'm right in front of the garage. I have the garage in front of me. I'm on the
Oh,
10th
okay.
floor, but still
Gotcha.
I'm right in front of facing the ocean and the A1A.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know exactly where you are.
I don't know what wing is that.
It's the east wing.
Ah, okay. It's good to know.
Yeah. Nice to meet you.
hmm I didn't get the vote
Oh,
link.
we met in the lobby actually.
Yes, we met this year when I
That's
was
right.
there I'm in Washington
Are you
right
getting
now, but
ready?
Oh, okay.
we met,
Yeah,
you
in the
opened the
lobby.
door for me, the front
That's
door,
right. That's me.
and you
I'm the door
point,
guy.
no, thank you so much. You also pointed out that, you know, your contact information was in the lobby if I needed to contact you. I really
That's
appreciate that.
correct. We're
Look,
always there.
I don't have a link to vote and I would like to vote, but I never received that link.
You didn't. Okay, Steven, are you there, bud? I don't know if he's there. He's the admin for the Becker ballots um, system. So there was a few people that didn't. We'll discuss that in a minute here. I know we're probably going to be waiting for some more votes to come in. So it depends on how many are coming. I know people are doing it last minute here. So we'll see what the total count is, and then we'll go from there. But I know there's a few people. We're still working out the kinks with that. This is our first time doing it. So we're going to give people the opportunity. We just have to wait to see what the deal is first.
Okay. I'm traveling to Florida, so I should be there before on the 20, I think. Yeah,
Oh, cool.
I believe I
Nice.
arrive on the 20.
Excellent.
And so I'll be there for the members meeting.
Okay, great. Sounds good.
Mhm.
Still going to be all virtual, but it'll be nice to have you here.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. You're
I know
right.
it's usually in the rec room. It's usually a big one.
hmm
So we're gonna you know, I think actually some people are going to be in the rec room with Angel. I think they're going to host it live from the rec room because they got to do count the ballots and whatnot. So I know there's going to be three members of Angel there, and I know there's going to be a few residents that are selected. I don't know if they put it out yet, but to help them count so that they have an accurate idea of what the votes are.
Mhm.
No, all together, no sound. No sound. Lower it. Turn it down.
Evening. How's everyone?
Hello, good evening. Doing well. How are you?
Good. Stephen's gonna join in just a few minutes.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
I wanted to just, I'm trying to figure out how many people we have on already. I was just gonna check to see if we've received votes from everyone that's actually on the call right now.
Right.
Because we still need more votes in order
Yep.
to pass.
There's 12 people on right now that I see. I know we have a list of the people that have registered online that haven't voted yet, that got an email. So I was hoping maybe, I don't know if it's too late to just, give them a shout, or just, maybe if they're on tonight, they can just check their email and vote real quick, because then we can, then we won't have to.
Yeah, it looks like there was a total of 60 people that signed up for online voting.
Right.
And of those 60 people, I believe,
Yeah, all right, hold on, do
voted
this.
online.
You ready?
And then I think 6 others voted like by proxy, and there was 17 that didn't vote at all.
Okay.
I am one of them because I didn't receive the link. I cannot vote without the link.
Respond.
Went to spam maybe.
The passcode is 923.
And I tried to contact you last week, but I didn't get any luck, I guess, for the Thanksgiving holidays.
Did you check your spam folder to see if it maybe got
No,
pushed?
I delete everything in the spam folder because I needed
Okay.
to clear storage for my inbox.
Right.
So no, I did not.
Sometimes some companies, things will be like automatically put in your spam if it's not, something your emails recognized before. But because I know some of Angel's emails go there too. But this email would have been sent, I believe, by a different, not from Angel, but from the attorney's office, I guess, who's handling it.
Right. She said she checked it though, and it's not in there.
Was it Shift or Becker Ballots that the email was sent from? Tyler, do you remember?
Becker Ballots.
Becker Ballots.
So can I vote by this meeting?
Send an email.
I mean, normally people want to vote in private, but I'm
Well, you don't have to vote like out loud. What we were going to say is you could go ahead and send an email to Stephen, like right now, and just tell him what your vote is. But we'll need to get an actual proxy from you as well. But it would be good to have a tally of, who's voting for what if you hadn't submitted it yet.
I emailed him that I didn't get the link, and he hasn't responded. So,
I sent it to you. They sent an email there. You're on the list of people who got sent an email.
She didn't get it, Stephen. Maybe it went to spam, or maybe they had her email wrong. But so what can we do right now?
What we said, send the email to me.
have on right now? Tyler, I know yours. I
What's
know
that?
yours, Claudia.
I'm sorry, did
Trying
you
to
ask me something?
identify which units were on right now, just so I could double check their
Oh,
thing.
yep.
I think
So it's
Claudia, I have yours.
10:04.
10:04.
That's Claudia. She's saying
Oh
that she
yes,
didn't
I
get
already
it.
have her.
Okay, you already counted her. Let's see. I'm looking at if I can see everybody. Oh, there
I
they are.
see Patricia, I think we got her vote.
Let's see. Harriet's 207. Richard is 602.
Okay, 207 we got. 602?
Yep.
No, 602 we have not gotten anything yet.
Okay. Richie, did you cast a vote, bud? Or did you leave it in the office? Richie, can you hear me? You're on mute. Let me give him a call.
Yeah.
Oh,
Kind
hey.
of.
You
Yeah, I
voted.
gave it to you.
Yeah, it was in the office. Steven should have got that one. It was in the stack there.
It was the beginning of the week, yeah.
Which unit is that?
602.
Yeah, I think I remember writing him down.
Right.
Which other units are on?
Let's see. 708. Let's see. Michael. I don't know if that's penthouse 4.
708 we got.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm on here.
Okay, I just want to check you.
4 we did
Penthouse
not
4.
get.
You did not. You vote, Mike?
No.
Then shoot Steven a text or an email with your vote.
An email. I
All
just sent my email in the chat.
All right. Do you see the chat, Steve? Mike?
Wait a minute. So those that didn't given the opportunity to vote online because we did not receive the link, even though we told you we didn't
Right.
get the link. How do you want us to vote tonight?
Just send an email to Steven with your vote. That's what we're going to do so that we can try to rally up enough votes to get the partial.
And let me just to be clear. So the vote is the option you're talking for the reserved. Is that the only vote?
Yes.
Yeah, that's only
So, and the only options are yes or yes, right? So
It's
yes,
partial
yes,
or
partial,
full.
or yes, yes, full. But the previous option that was to waive that has been taken away from the members, right?
Correct.
I cannot vote for
This
that.
year is the first year that we voted as a board majority to not offer the option to waive. That is correct.
So if I don't vote for any of those options because the third option was not given to me, how will that count?
It counts as fully, if no vote is for fully funded.
Okay, then you're forcing me to one thing and I'm going to vote for what you're forcing me to vote. But you know, I just want to say I appreciate all the good work you do. I really do. But in this particular one, I think that you're taking the members' opportunity to vote for what the members want is not looking good for me. Just want you to know that.
I appreciate your input and thank you for the nice comments as well.
Tyler,
Yes, sir.
did my vote count? You find it?
Who's this, Richie?
Yeah.
Steven's checking right now. He's said that he remembers writing it down, so maybe it was just an error.
602? Yes.
602, we got him.
You got it, Stephen?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, text me. I have the form in
Steven,
front of me.
I just sent you a text too. I don't know if you got it.
And Tyler, this is 408. Right?
Tyler,
Yes, hi.
hi, I'm Jeanette, 812. If we vote through the link and we got an email saying that they got our vote, we're okay, right? There's nothing
Yes.
there that didn't
Yes,
go.
we got your vote.
Okay, perfect,
Did you
thanks.
receive 408 vote?
Which one?
408.
Let me double check. Yes, we did. Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to start the meeting now. I guess we have about 30, which is our average here. It's 7 o'clock, so
Okay,
do you want to wait?
anyone that's that's signed on right now that hasn't already submitted your vote and you still want to vote, please email Stephen right now.
What's his email address?
Stephen, STEPHEN @angelpm.com.
It's in the chat.
It's in the chat in the bottom.
Just let him know what you want to vote for, which partially funded or fully.
Please, you have to do it. You cannot do it in this, you have to do it by email if you have not already voted. It cannot be in the chat. It can't be by text. It has to
Want
be
to
by.
check if we got your vote, then I can do that as well, but 12:10.
There's one person in the chat that voted. I just want to advise you of that. You just said that it wouldn't count.
Has to be written in, it won't work in the chat.
Yeah, this is Bert Engelman from Unit 205. I had contacted, or Stephen contacted me. I just in the chat noticed to confirm my vote.
No, yes, you did. Don't worry.
Okay.
You got your Bert. If you voted online, you should have received a confirmation that you voted online. Understand that those are received.
Can somebody check 1208 and see if you received the vote?
Sure.
Yes. It's received.
Good, thank you.
Tyler, can I ask a question while we're waiting? It's Leo in 511.
Hey, Leo, sure, bring it on.
Couple questions from last year's meeting, which are in reference to this year's meeting and the vote that's about to occur. At last year's meeting, you said that we would have an annual vote for no reserves or versus reserves. This year's ballot only calls out two options: partially funded reserves versus fully funded reserves. Why doesn't this year's ballot have a voting option for no reserves?
The last meeting, we had I presented a vote.
Last meeting at this time, I want to clarify.
Yes, the last monthly meeting, we had a vote between the board members to if we wanted to offer the option to waive this year. And I think it was outweighed 3-2. So that's why we didn't offer the option to waive. So that's the answer to that question. Yeah,
Can you share the reasoning behind that?
It's just a board majority vote. I mean, that's it's Florida statute says that you don't have to offer the option to waive it, but if they do want the option for partial, then that has to be given. Otherwise, then it's a fully funded reserve. So a lot of people, a lot of places that don't even offer partial or waiving. It's like everybody's on board. We know we need the money to do the projects that we have to do. They don't want a special assessment, or they haven't needed one in the past. So they're just like, as long as it's the same, let's just keep moving forward. And, it kind of keeps it smoother, I guess. But it's, every community is different.
When you say as long as it's the same, what are you referring to? What is it?
Like a fully funded reserve, like a lot of the buildings have, without a question, are, the reserves are fully funded, and what you're getting into because you've been paying into it for years and it's always been the same. So a lot of the places, they don't even have the options because that's, just the way that, then people that have loans like Sally Mae and Fannie, whatever the other one is, they're allowed to buy here. A lot of the loan companies won't even offer people loans if the building doesn't have a reserve because it's just a liability. So and there's some other avenues that it blocks. It's a negative thing. to not have. So, you know, it's a pretty intricate process.
I wouldn't have that question, but the reserves have gone up significantly, which is another question that I have. I recall at last year's meeting at this time that Gene said the reserves were based on an anticipated 20-year budget for all the requirements the building were anticipated to require. He also mentioned that would require a 3% increase because Angel Property Management has an escalation provision of 3%, but it would not increase other than that for the next 20 years. Your proposed partial reserve represents an additional 8% increase, and the full reserve represents an additional 35% increase. Including last year's increases and this year's totals, that means an increase from last year and this year inclusive of 45 to 72% increase within a year. With all due respect, that's unacceptable. That's unreasonable. I don't think there's anything else in our lives that we would accept that for, not from FPL, not from Pompano Beach property taxes. It's absurd. What justification does the board have for that type of increase, and when can we get this budgeted to level off?
Hey, Leo, this is Gene. Some of the stuff that you just stated is correct and some is incorrect. If you want to start over with your statement and let me stop you on each step so I can clarify a few things for you.
Are you talking about the reserves and no reserves, or you're talking about the 20-year budget?
The comment you just made about the, I don't know, you're talking about the reserves and the budget and so on, and the increase. And
I asked two questions, so that's what I'm trying to understand.
$2 out of it, $30.
The reserves went up by $25 for 8, 12, and 4 stack unit from last year.
That's the partial.
Right? And last year we had 125. I know it's $125 for the 4, 8, and stack unit because that's what I live in. So that was $125, and that was only a partially funded reserve because it only looked out 4 or 5 years. That was to accommodate projects looking out 5 years, as opposed to a 30-year fully funded reserve, which would have been like $400 or so. And I didn't even bother presenting that to the owners at that time.
I'll clarify my point.
It would be completely unacceptable.
I'll clarify
so
my
I
point.
went with Angel and we came up with a partially funded reserve, which was this reduced amount of $125, which I thought could be acceptable to the owners.
I moved in February of 2018, and the maintenance at that point in time did not include reserves, and it was $349.
That's right, without reserves.
Allow me to finish, I'll be brief. Then last year it was voted, due to this vote at this same time in this same meeting, it went up by $130. That's a 37% increase to $479. The partial reserve this year would be above that 479 would be an additional 8% or an additional $40. Or if the fully reserved occurs, it would be an additional 35%. So if I include the 37% from last year plus the 8% for partial, that's a 45% increase within a year's time. Conversely, if I add the 37% from last year that was approved at this time, and the 35%, if it's voted for full reserves at this time, that's a 72% increase within a year's time. There's nothing in my life I accept that type of an increase for.
Can I say something? Because I think it's important that we all know that the Florida statute mandates that we present a fully funded reserve to all residents so that they know what we should be paying to replace the roof in the next 30 years. Just so everybody knows that. Judy, what's up?
That's not the question. The question is, why is this thing running away like a house on fire?
Have you guys seen some of the projects that we have coming up?
I went through your budget. Yes, I did.
Yeah, I mean, there's some major things that we've got to address for the infrastructure of this building.
All I'm getting at is this, and I'll repeat my question. Last year in this meeting at this time, Gene said that if the reserves were approved before they announced the fact that the reserves were approved, and again, it went up 37% from 349 to 479. Gene said at that time, we're going to pay for it one way or the other, with an assessment or without. However, Leo, rest assured that the reserves were based on a 20-year budget of all of the anticipated expenses, and that should be budgeted, excluding one thing, excluding an escalation provision that Angel has. And this year's budget says two things. it gives a very broad-based statement. The fact that it's gone up 5% without any explanation, that's a separate question I have. But in addition to that, the reserves have gone up themselves, either partially at another 8% or fully at another 35%. The lady that just spoke is right. To put it in her words, it's like a house on fire. When will we get the budget under control? Because last year I was told it would be another 20 years. Here we are 1 year later, and we're going up by another 8% to over a third.
Yeah, well, the reality of it is the fact that, you know, the maintenance has been so low for the past however many years is, you know, we've actually been stealing from the integrity of the building. So, you know, if it depends on how you want to look at it, there's a lot of perspectives on this. The main purpose of raising the budget now is to protect our investments. You know, we've had a number of storms this year that have had serious damage to our infrastructure, like Nate was saying. And if we don't take care of it now, like the roof, you know, at least we can rule the roof out now. But, you know, without the roof, we would have holes coming in from the top and from the sides. You know, this building would be like Swiss cheese. I mean, we can't have, you know, water intrusion in our building. So, you know, whatever we need to do to make that go away is at whatever cost, if you ask me. I mean, we all have a lot of money invested here. And I think we can all agree that we want to protect our investment. You know, what good is this place if it's covered in mold? And, you know, there's water.
Let me say one other thing is, in the previous year, before last year, I did say we're going to try to not have any special assessment, and we balanced the budget last year. The docs only allow a 5% increase per year. You know, before 2019, the dues were cheaper by 5%. Every year we've been going up 5% because that's what the docs allow us to do.
Oh, no.
But prior years.
Without explanation, and I'm opposed to that as well.
Wait a minute. In
2018,
in 2018, and in 2017, and every year there was a special assessment for a shortfall in the budget.
Okay.
So even with a 5% increase per year, we did not have enough income coming in. We had to have a special assessment for a shortfall in the budget, in addition to any other special assessment we had. So we were paying extra in addition to the 5%.
I think don't we also, we have that 3% increase that Angel charges, I believe. And then there's, doesn't it go up for Christian as well? Doesn't he get a percentage? So things increase.
Yeah.
I know that.
I have a question.
Yeah, Joanne, we can barely hear you though.
Okay.
There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
I hear you.
Okay. My question is why can't we keep the reserve at what it is now, and whatever is mandated by the county, which I believe is that 5%, and let it be at that? Why can't we just keep the reserves the way it is and realign the reserves that we slotted for certain things for next year? Why can't we readjust those line items to cover all this so-called water damage? Because honestly, it's going to cost a lot of money to do a building restoration, and you know, maybe you just need to adjust some line items. But I mean, I don't support this at all. I mean, we have an outstanding loan as it is. Let's just move some of the line items from the reserve around.
We are looking at that. We are looking at that.
That's an option.
That's very seriously.
There's things that, like the panel, the pipe, and the pump for the AC, like that's infrastructure that is in very bad shape right now. We really need to try to keep that.
No, we didn't fix that. That's on the budget for next year. That's the first thing we're going to take care of.
Well, like I said, you guys need to really look at the line items, because I don't believe anybody on this call wants their maintenance to go up for our building that has zero amenities. We've got to prove that
you got to look at the other buildings around us too. We're still the cheapest building in the neighborhood.
You know,
so what?
Tyler, that's not true. And so what? They have a lot more.
Who cares?
I care because I want to protect our investment
But
here.
they have a lot more amenities than we do.
Look, we all want to protect our investment, but management. Sorry.
Sure, you want to compare us. other buildings, the building next.
Okay, all
I
right.
can't hear her well.
Stop
Can't
on
hear you,
there.
Joanne.
No,
All right,
Tyler, no.
I can't
No,
hear
made
you.
a statement.
Literally can't hear you.
If you
I
made
think it
a
has to do with
statement,
your microphone, ma'am.
you
Your
made a,
microphone is messed up.
you may know, actually, it's not, but okay. You made a statement about the buildings in the other areas.
Yeah. Okay, we still
we
can't
can't
hear
hear
you,
you.
Joanne.
No one can hear you.
Compare.
We can't
Sorry,
hear
we
you.
can't
Yeah.
hear you. That's why I started talking over you. I didn't realize she was talking. I couldn't hear.
Yeah,
What
I know.
I'm saying is that
Hey, I'd
it
like
goes
to
without
start- I'd like to
saying
start
that
this
we
meeting
all
now.
have happy in Granada House. That's why we picked that place. And we all care for our individual property and for our neighbor's property and that community that Granada House is.
Correct.
The indoors and the outdoor, we all love that pool and that deck. So it goes without saying that we care about our investment and our building. But this is a budget meeting, and that's not the topic on this meeting. It's about talking about money and well management of our limited resources. And when I look at the line items, I see things that I approve, and I see things that it's a waste of money you're proposing to spend from all of us. And I
Okay.
am not in approval of that.
Thank you for
So
your input.
I'm saying that, you know,
Yes,
the
Tyler.
money comes from us, and we want the money to be well spent, well invested, and your budget has some things that are not well thought.
You
And
should
please
run to
don't
the
take
board.
it. I don't want you to get defensive or find that I'm being aggressive. I'm just giving you my thoughts.
No, we
Why
appreciate
do
it.
we have to approve a 5-year budget when you don't know what's going to be happening in 2022? Why don't we go year by year
Exactly.
and prioritize? And not just fill in the blank, the column, the 5 column that you have there, like just because
There's
the
no
paper
way
doesn't
that
do anything.
there was a lot of work
You
put
know
in.
what I mean?
Yeah,
What do you
I
really,
know.
you're planning to spend in
We didn't
3
just
years
fill
from
in the
now,
blank.
and you don't know what the economy is going to be for each one of us.
Look at our neighborhood that we're in, though. I mean, how are we not going to take care of the infrastructure when the neighborhood is up and coming around us? We have to fit in with the rest of the neighborhood, regardless of what is falling down around us. I mean, we
Tyler,
have to,
I don't think anyone is disagreeing with that. I
Right.
honestly, I don't.
well, I don't see what the problem is then. I mean,
The
we're only going
problem
up
is
You
$8
got
here.
an 8% increase. It's
exactly, that's the problem.
Okay.
No, I would correct you all.
You're
It's either an
increasing for
8%
things that are not
increase or it's a
necessary.
fully funded
Hey, guys,
reserve.
I'd like to start this meeting.
I'm sorry, guys. I had to mute everybody, and this is going on, and we never really started the meeting. So we need to be able to officially start the meeting, and then we'll go through the meeting as it is required, and then we will get to the parts where we'll discuss with everybody because we're starting to get off on tangents before we got started. So Tyler, I'm going to give you the floor to go ahead and start the meeting, and then we can go from there.
Okay, thank you, Stephen. Welcome, everybody, Granada House residents, to the 2021 annual budget meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order now. It's 7:19. I'd like to establish a quorum. Do I have board members here? Please state your name and say aye. Here.
Gene Salenza here.
Virginia Shaver here.
Nathan Grable here.
Jack, are you here? Mr. Jack Amanduri, are you here?
He's entering a message.
Okay. Jack, hey, you here?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, we hear you. Okay, Tyler, I'm here. All right, we have a quorum. Okay, number 3, affidavit of notice of mailing. Angel sent out a mailing. Stephen, do you have the exact date on that? Let's see, what was it? November, what was it? Okay. Stephen, do you know what date the mailing was sent out?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was muted. October 27th.
Okay, thank you very much. So that's, everybody should have received this packet by now and hopefully been able to cast their vote. Okay, next is certifying of proxies. Stephen, I'll let you take over from here about the voting and everything since you're the admin for Becker ballots and you guys have been receiving the mailing votes, hopefully. So we can discuss the proxies.
Okay, so we did, there was a number of people that voted online. Not everybody who received a notice voted online, but there was a lot of people who did. I think we had about 50. I sent Tyler, hold on a second, let me pull
Yeah,
that.
I got the list here. I didn't know if it was updated since then, though.
You say
No.
50, that meaning 50?
Hold on one second, please. Yeah, it's still the same, Tyler, because.
All right.
Did you say 50 or 15?
Hold on.
50.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. All right. So we had.
Okay.
You want to go?
Online votes, I got it. I have it. So it was 37 online votes.
Write that down.
There were 37 online votes. We had one for full and 36 for partial votes online. And we are still tallying up there was 36 partial votes online. And as right before this meeting, I had 28 proxies, 1 for full and 27 for partial.
36 plus 27.
Stephen, when you say,
that was before this meeting.
Stephen, when you say for full, both the online and the proxies, there was no option for a full. A full is a no vote.
I had a vote.
There's people they wrote
No, I don't know what happened.
They wrote it in.
They wrote it in.
No, I would still be able to hear them.
We can hear you.
Can you explain what was happened with those votes? What do you mean wrote in?
So the option, if you, hold on, let me pull up the.
Becker ballots had the option for full, I believe, online.
They had a votable option for either.
Yes, that's what I mean.
I mean, you're by law, you were able to, you
had the option.
If you all look at the
showing you.
ballot there, I had they had one person vote online and then the other person actually put an X right here. They wanted it for full reserves.
The one online didn't look like that. It was very basic. It was written without the grids.
Right.
And it did offer a checkbox for either.
Right. That's
the one
correct.
I received by email from the website also looked like this, but it had a checkbox on the right commensurate with the one on the left.
Correct. So either way, if they didn't vote or if they voted for full, it was a vote for full.
Right.
So what are we at? We're
still tallying up the votes. Jillian, are you on the call?
Hey, yeah, I'm here.
Did you tally the votes that we have?
Yeah, I mean, I think, well,
the proxy votes, because we took in emails from those who have not.
Right, I think we only got 3 additional votes by email since we got on the call.
Okay.
So there are still some, I think, that are on the call that haven't voted yet. So if
is there any way that we can maybe contact them or send them a message and have them email a vote over?
I've sent it to some, but
okay, I know
I'm not sure who all is on.
We're 11 short.
We're muted again.
How many signed up for online voting and haven't submitted a vote yet? Because if we contacted those people, they could do that immediately while we're on this call.
Well, I'm not sure the online vote is available.
Oh, is that right?
I think they cut off the voting time. Virginia, were you able to get your vote in?
You know, I don't think so. I contacted Steve today to ask about that. I thought I did, but then
no, we haven't received one. You can email Stephen with what your choice is.
Okay.
And then anyone who's emailing tonight, just like sending an email with their vote, will still need to get us that proxy signed. But it can be, you know, tomorrow or, you know, sometime soon. But for tonight's purposes, we can take just an email, you know, line saying which one you want to vote for.
I did send it by email, and I also asked through a private text to management to see if you receive it, but I have not gotten any response. I'm not getting response from you guys.
I did respond. I'm sorry if you haven't received it, but I did respond. Yes, we received yours, Claudia.
Okay, very good. I will send you the proxy tomorrow.
Okay, great.
Thank
Hey,
you
I
for
have
the
a
reminder.
question.
Did you get an
How come
email?
at the bottom of the proxy, it says your proxy must be received by the association or management company before the meeting start time, in bold and underlined?
Yes,
Can
and
you
we
just
also should
ignore
have
that?
received the link, which we didn't receive, okay?
We're still working the kinks out. This is the first time we've done this, so just bear
Okay,
with us.
let me answer. All the emails people who should have gotten links were emailed, whether or not they went into spam folders and people never saw them. I can't answer that, but we shared all emails that were given. Those emails were sent then by Becker ballots to everyone. Since after that, yes, it is true that you need to be able to get your votes in by the vote tally. But however, the board has the authority to wait to get the votes, and these ballots are proxies are valid for 90 days from the date of this meeting. So from today, 90 days out, the proxies are still valid. So if you turn in a proxy after the fact, and the board has choose to hold the meeting until, or hold the answer on reserves until they get the votes that they need or move forward, then that's why it's allowed to be done that way. So as of right now, these proxies are still good, and they will be good 90 days from now. If the board chooses to hold another meeting, if they weren't unable to get the votes needed tonight.
Would the board please consider making such an extension as you've described, please?
Yes, that's what we're dragging our feet here for.
Thank you.
You guys want to continue on and recess this meeting until we have enough votes? We can do that. I'd like to take a vote to recess the meeting.
What would the time limit be?
90 days.
When we get, we'll have
Well,
the vote.
sorry, I wouldn't say 90 days because we still do need to be before
exactly.
Before the end of next week.
The meeting, right.
When we get the votes, as soon as we get the votes, we'll host the meeting again and we'll go from there.
I suggest that Angel contact anybody who hasn't voted yet by email or voice or whatever, and tell them the importance of getting this in. Otherwise, we're going to be stuck with a fully funded reserve expenditure for the coming year, which nobody wants.
Right.
I think that you need to put a date. I think you need to put a date.
Well, no, I think as soon as we get the 77 votes, we can re-adjourn this meeting.
That's exactly what I was going to say. If I understood the count as you gave it, we're about 11 short of having enough votes, regardless of which way they are.
That's right.
Correct.
So is that possible for you to send an email or an email to the residents that did not vote and give them a 7-day minimum to respond?
I would say immediate.
Well,
I wouldn't give them a time frame. I would say immediate because we need to approve the budget. Until we get.
Would you consider a motion to start from scratch and give the option to waive the reserve like it always was, partially fund or fully fund?
Maybe next
Again,
year.
First of all, we can't waive the reserve. Yes, you can
Yes,
waive
you
the
can.
reserve.
That's that point. That's why I'm asking for it. Don't tell me that we can't. We can. We did it all this time until you got here.
I misspoke. I'm sorry.
Okay.
We can waive the fully funded reserve because the fully funded reserve is what's required by Florida statute. Okay,
Right.
we can waive that. And the way we're waiving the fully funded reserve is to vote for the partially funded reserve.
The fact that
That's
you
a
guys
vote to
haven't
waive the
seen,
fully funded reserve.
the fact that you haven't seen a fully funded reserve ever is what really scares me, because everybody thinks that it's going up so high, but nobody's ever known what a fully funded reserve looks like to plan for the projects that need to be done. This should, if we had this forever, then we wouldn't be in the position that we're in. So, that's another point.
But it's for the members to decide that. It's not for the,
no,
this
I
is a
agree,
vote
but-
that comes from the members.
So
Whatever the members decide, I'm fine with it.
Miss Ferguson,
But we're
that's
not given the
necessarily
opportunity
true.
to
Hang on,
vote.
Miss Ferguson.
That's not exactly true. This is the operating budget is decided by the board of directors. And then the board has the option on whether or not to offer a fully, partially, or allow the waive the vote. That's a board decision. That's why you vote for the board to do a fiduciary responsibility for the association. So they are making a decision with all the financial information that's put before them. Right now, you're looking at the budget with a concern of your own financial issues, and I can understand that. But at the same time, the building has issues with it. It's a 40-plus-year-old building that,
that went through the 40-year inspection.
As you get older, it costs
I
more
am
to
supporting
insure
the
yourself.
maintenance of the
Hold on,
building.
ma'am.
Please
Hold on,
don't
ma'am. I didn't
misunderstand.
talk over you, so hold on. So with a larger, an older building, it's going to take more to do.
Sorry.
There are pipes that they were talking about that are completely solid shut because they've rotted and there's been gunk and they haven't been cleaned out. And there's maintenance that hasn't happened to the building that has to happen in order for the building to be able to work and function normally. So these are things, they're looking like, hey, we could use a nice new gym, or where we want a 2-story pool or something like that. These are not things that they're putting on there. They're putting on there just regular basic things to be able to cover.
I have it right here, Stephen. I read line by line. Do you think I will be speaking without reading this budget? I highlighted what I think is a waste of money. Pool deck furniture, $13,000. Pool fence replaced, $20,000. That has nothing to do with the structure that you're trying to defend. I totally agree with you with the important stuff, and the petty little stuff that costs money that comes from our pocket. Let the members decide if they want to spend on those things that are really not critical.
You read the thing wrong, because what that does is they're saving money for the life of these things. So these things, you have to put money away for everything. Pool deck.
Stephen, may I ask you a question? If there's no vote on the full or the partial reserve, does the board have the right to have a special assessment without letting the owners aware?
No, they
I'd
would
like
do
to
a
say one
special
more
assessment.
thing. Steve,
No, wait, Gene, wait. I want to understand this. So
No, you cannot. They need to notify the owners. Now, they can do the special assessment, that's a board vote, but they will at least need to notify the owners of dollar amounts and how much they expect this.
I don't mean notify. I mean, so if the board chooses, they can do a special assessment if we don't agree on the partial reserve. Claudia, the point I'm trying to bring out is that if we don't agree on a partial reserve, minimum, then the board can decide to do a special assessment.
Can't hear her.
Joanne, I can barely hear you. You're fading out. When you lean back, we hear you better. So when you lean into it.
Talk a little softer, it'll work better.
Claudia, the point I'm trying to make is that we don't.
We can't hear you, dear.
Can't hear you. Let's go on.
Talk a little softer.
Can you hear me now?
Much better.
Okay. If we don't agree on a partial
Now we can't hear you.
Going in and out.
It's in and out, in
Well,
and out.
I think I
yes,
understand
sorry.
your question. I said, if we can't agree on a partial reserve, can we do a special assessment?
Yes.
The board could, but I mean, at that same time, it's 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. You're
And we
still paying money out of your pocket
We
for
would
this.
have no control over the special assessment.
We've done that for years.
We
have to be.
Again, I'd like to make another statement here, if I might. All right. Florida statutes requires a fully funded reserve, which nobody wants. All right. The other option is if we waive the fully funded reserve, this year we're allowing a partially funded reserve. Now, we could have not had the partially funded reserve. In other words, we could have just waived the fully funded reserve. And instead of that, we would have had a special assessment.
Okay.
Instead. All right. Now, if we had a special assessment, it'd be the same amount of money that we're talking about for the fully funded reserve, because we still got to do these projects that have to be done. So call it a fully funded reserve. I mean, call it partially funded reserve or call it a special assessment. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What
There
we're
is a
trying to do
difference,
is waive the
There
fully
is a
funded reserve.
difference. Therefore, the assessment will concentrate on what really needs to be done, and everybody will agree on what really needs to be done.
Correct.
When you have the reserves, you start asking money for something you don't know if you're going to be able to spend it or not, and we feel uncomfortable with that, especially that we are at the beginning of a decade that we don't know how the economy is going to evolve. So please be real and let's just do what we need to do for the building, and don't ask money just because you can ask for money if you don't really need to really
No,
spend
we're
it.
definitely not doing
Let's
that.
not waste.
Yeah,
the time of
Claudia.
wasting should be over.
So let me.
What I did before these budget figures were put together, I worked up a fully funded reserve budget, a partially funded reserve budget, and a special assessment budget. All right. I worked those three budgets up. For the special assessment budget, basically, we're going to cover the cost of some of these projects that had to be done this coming year, plus fund the parking lot over the next 2 years. We came up with the same amount of money as the partially funded reserve. We're talking the same thing. Now, after the parking lot's done, then we'll take a look at what happens after that if we're only doing special assessments. But no matter what, we'll have the option of waiving the fully funded reserve, which everybody agrees to. So now we're either going to have a partially funded reserve or a special assessment. It's going to be the same amount of money out of everybody's pocket, because we had planned to do the parking lot, we had planned to do the drains and the AC pump and the panels and so on. So I don't care what you call it. The important thing is we're waiving the fully funded reserve, and that's what everybody wants to do. All right. So it doesn't matter what you call it. It's going to be the same amount of money out of your pocket.
Right.
So
We
we're
got to
not
do.
looking at furniture out 3 years or whatever, because who knows what's going to happen then. We're going to take a look at this every year.
Here we do this.
And take another look. All right.
That's why the fully funded reserve is presented, so you can see what is, over the next few years, what is planned to be done. If we don't show everybody the fully funded reserves, which is illegal, then people have no idea what's coming or what's, what to be expected. That's why they want everybody to see it, is so that okay, well, we have to do these projects regardless. So, that's a whole point of showing everybody a fully funded reserve, is so that we're all on the same page. And if we choose to say, oh yeah, let's just waive it or let's do a partial, then okay, yeah, we agree that, we know there's more money that should be spent, but we choose to save it in our pockets. But that's the whole point of the Florida statute the way it is. I think everybody has the right intentions, and the projects that need to be done there's no question of whether they need to be done or not. They're going to be done regardless. However we come up with the money is what we're trying to figure out now. So let's just, let's be respectful and try to, and take into consideration that, we all put a lot of time and energy into, making sure that this place is fully functional and operating, at 100%. Or as close to 100% as we can.
Tyler,
can I ask a question?
You have 60. You're saying that you're missing 11 votes, right, to get the partially funded reserve. So I don't know. We're about 40 or something people tonight on the meeting.
Right.
So I guess everybody knows another person that he can talk to and make sure that they send their vote. I think we can have that 11 votes faster this week.
Can I make a comment to that?
Yes, Anthony.
I'm just wondering, all the Canadians that are not online voting, they were mailed their vote. It takes time for the mail, especially with COVID pandemic going on, and the time constraints were very, very tight. So I'm just wondering if anyone knows how many votes were returned by the Canadians by mail, because they could still be in the mail.
We don't know until they get here, and there's a very small percentage of Canadians that don't have internet. We've already done those numbers, and it's not to say that we don't want to count their vote, but it's not like a huge sway of, it's not going to make or break the vote. I know we're only down to a few here, but it's that's why we were going to recess this, and I'm just trying to see if we need to or not, because whether they come in or not, as long as we have enough to get the partial, then everybody's happy.
I know that some Canadians were down there, not maybe at the condo, but they had their vote put in the mailbox in the office. So I guess you check that too, Tyler?
We check it every day, yes.
Yes.
The other thing that I want to say, in my humble opinion, I want to thank you guys for the budget you presented. I know it's a lot of work, and finally, after all these years, we're finally having a budget and we know where we're going. Maybe we don't.
We've always had a
the way it's
budget.
done, but I mean, at least we know where we're going. We have so much to do on that building to keep it up. So anyway, for my part, I'm thanking you for all the job.
Exactly.
I have one more question, just one more question.
Yes.
Everybody online, we got 49 participants on this call. Has everybody online submitted a vote?
Yes.
There any, everybody has. All right. Just thought we might gather a few more votes that way.
All right, so move on.
Hey, Tyler?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Just quickly, before you recess this thing, because that seems like where it's heading.
Yeah.
Can we have a brief conversation for those of us that aren't down there about the damage and
we're going to get to that. That's going to be a separate meeting. It's coming shortly after the special assessment meeting and the board of directors budget meeting agenda. So
okay, I'm sorry.
Talk about that. Sorry, I'm not trying to blow you up. I just want to get through this, and then it sounds like we're going to have to recess this. Stephen, is that correct?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, I'd like to take a vote to recess this meeting.
Is there an indicative timeline when it might be resumed?
As soon as we get the votes, Leo, we're gonna call another meeting. So hopefully within the next week or so, I'd say.
It obviously has to be done before the end of the year, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Understood. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
Okay, do I have a motion to recess the budget meeting?
Motion to recess.
Okay, do I have a second?
With regret, yes, I
First,
second
Regina,
it.
second, okay, and Virginia, all in favor, say aye.
seconding that?
Okay. It was,
Virginia, I seconded that with regrets.
right, I hear you. All right, well, so then that's it. We have a recessed budget meeting. Okay, then we're going to continue on to the special assessment meeting agenda, which is immediately following the annual budget meeting of the members. I'd like to establish a quorum again. Please state your name and say here.
Ian Swanza here.
Virginia Shaver here.
Jack Amadori here.
Nate?
Yeah, I said. Nathan
Okay.
Grable.
Okay, and Tyler Derlin here. Okay, so we're going to talk about the special assessment. We had a sale of Unit 110 last year. There was a capital gains tax that is associated with the sale of any real estate property. That was unaccounted for. There is a federal tax of $4,801 that we paid, and there was a state tax of 30-something thousand. So it comes out to $37,801. We paid the $4,800 tax already. We still have the outstanding 30,000, 35,000, something like that. So it comes out to 37,801 total. So we're doing a special assessment to cover the taxes for the sale of 110. It's unfortunate, but it's something that needs to be done. We have to pay our taxes. It was last minute notice. We got a letter in the mail says, you have a huge tax bill due in 9 days. So, we obviously didn't plan for this. The sale was unaccounted for. There was a real estate transaction. I wasn't on the board last year, but apparently it was just a a miscommunication or there was some sort of, you know, error that happened. So, you know, things go missed, you know, a pandemic hit. I'm not trying to use that as an excuse. You know, there was a lot of things that happened this year that, you know, we weren't able to focus on some of the things that should have been focused on. So, you know, I'm not going to point the finger at anybody or, you know, there was a number of positive things that came out of the money that we spent where that the taxes should have came from. You know, we fixed the trash chute. There's a ton of other projects around here that needed to be focused on. So, you know, it's not for, you know, mismanagement or poor spending. It's just, you know, it happens. People make mistakes and life goes on. So there's a special assessment of, I believe it's around $200 something, depending on the units. If you guys flip over your budget packet from page 11 to page 12, your special assessment total February 2021 special assessment fee income. 4, 8, and 12 stack is $310. 3, 7, 11 stack is $274. 1, 2, 5, 6, 9, 10, and unit 110 are also going to be $203. So that'll be $37,801 total. And that'll cover our taxes for the sale of 110, the capital gains.
One time, right?
That's one time, yep. So I'd also like to point out too, while we're talking about this, there's possibly going to be another special assessment. We're going to talk about that in the next meeting for a deductible for an insurance claim that we've recently filed for the damages from Tropical Storm Eta. But for now, we're just going to vote on, as a board, on this special assessment for the capital gains tax. So I'd like to make a motion to vote on the special assessment. Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, second, Jack. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Okay, Nate, Jean? Okay.
Are we getting a
Any nays, abstains?
That's
Okay,
it.
so that's unanimous decision for a special assessment for the capital gains tax.
No choice.
Okay,
Will we be getting a separate bill?
what's that?
Will we be getting a separate bill?
I'm Angel. How are we going to be sending that as a separate? How do you want to?
We'll set a payment. You can just send a check. However you send, just make an extra payment to cover that.
Well, I suggest you put something on the portal, please. That
Yes,
shows what.
we will definitely let everybody.
That
We have to
shows
let
that-
everybody know it's passed, so we will definitely give the ways to.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. I'd like to see it on the portal.
Yes. Okay. All right, next. So we're going to adjourn this meeting. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Do I have a second?
Second.
There will be a second meeting regarding the insurance adjustment and the damage.
Yes, we're going to talk about that shortly thereafter this meeting. We have another Board of Directors budget meeting, and then we're going to talk about the rest of that stuff.
Thank you.
Okay. Do I have all in favor for adjourning the special assessment meeting?
Aye.
Aye.
Nate, Jack, Virginia?
Aye.
Okay. Excellent. So, okay, that sounds good. So we're going to move forward to the Board of Directors 2021 budget meeting agenda. I'd like to establish a quorum. Please state your name and say here.
Nathan Grable here.
Jack Amador.
Gene Salenza here.
Virginia Shaver here.
And Tyler Darland here. I'd like to motion to approve the February 2020 minutes. I know we tried to do this before and I only got a second. I didn't ask for all in favor. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of February 2020. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Gene, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays,
Aye.
abstains?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds like we are unanimous vote to approve the February 2020 minutes. So I'd like to move forward. I would like to make a motion to approve the 2021 budget. And I know that we've already recessed the meeting, so I think that everybody is, I'd like to make a motion to decline or not approve.
Wait, Tyler?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, this is just on the operating portion of. the
Oh,
budget.
okay. All right. So then, yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve the 2021 operating budget. Do I have a second?
Stephen, can we? Can we vote to approve the 2021 budget without knowing the results of the waiving the fully funded reserve? Since
Yes, because this is the operating part of the budget. So this is going to be your operating stuff because the vote was, you're approving the budget as it's written, whether it's fully funded or partially funded, you're approving whatever that vote is going to be. And because that's a member vote, so you're just, whatever the vote is, you're approving the breakdown of the budget and how it's written.
All right.
So
thank you.
Okay, so I guess, do I have a second to approve the 2021 budget operating?
Second.
Gene, a second. Okay, and all in favor?
Aye.
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 Abstain.
Abstain. One abstain. Virginia abstain. Okay. So then I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the Board of Directors 2021 budget meeting agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Gene. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Any abstain, nays? Okay, so we're going to move on to the most recent meeting that was posted in the, all right, let's start with calling meeting to order. I'd like to establish a quorum. Please state your name and say here.
Rabel here.
Salenza here.
Jack Amadori. Here.
Virginia Shaver here.
Okay, great. So the posting of the agenda was 6 p.m. on Tuesday, December 1st, in compliance with notification requirements 48 hours prior to the meeting. This was right after, the insurance claim stuff. And I wanted to just be as transparent as possible with the residents about what's going on here. We had an adjuster in the building. So I'll get to that in a second here. We're going to motion to approve. We're going to waive that. Financial report, we're going to waive that. The agenda here. Okay, so agenda item A, and I'm sure you guys don't have this in front of you because it just came out recently. Agenda item A is the insurance claim / leaks. So we have a $100,000 policy for wind-driven rain that we pay for with our insurance company. There's a $50,000 deductible. We spoke to both our current agent and our agent that we've had in the past, and it was also going to be our future agent again. And they both recommended that we file the claim, and we had a majority board vote to file the claim. So we had an adjuster come out to the property. I had 3 contractors. I obviously didn't want to take all the contractors with the adjuster and Christian and I into everybody's apartment. We already felt like it was intrusive enough to go in with one of the contractors. So I showed 3 of the contractors a few units so that they can get an idea of what we're looking at damage wise, because most of the apartments have the similar damage. And I just felt like it was a courtesy to not bring all of them into everybody's apartment in a pandemic. So the 4 or 5 of us went in with the adjuster. So it was myself, Christian, our adjuster, Stephen Moody, who's our building adjuster. We also have a desk adjuster, which if anybody filed a claim, we will give that information as soon as we get the report, along with the policy number, the carrier, and all the information about the report. And then also there was Gene Petrilli and another gentleman named Sean, who was working with him. So the first day we went through 70 apartments. The next day we went through the rest of them. So I just want to give you guys a heads up that, there was moisture detected behind the walls, and we're about a month out from when the storm was. So we went in with a moisture meter, and underneath the picture windows for a majority of the apartments that are not corner units were saturated anywhere between, so normal sheetrock is about 13% moisture just when it's dry. And then anything above that, all the way up to 99.9% is, obviously affected. The lower, like 24% is at risk. Anything above that it says wet right on the meter, and the thing beeps and goes crazy. I know there's different kinds of meters. I know there's thermal guns, and we had a bunch of different tests in here, but we went through with the one that was least invasive and that, we can kind of go through quickly without having to be in people's apartments for too long and, not spend too much time on it. So we were able to take care of that in 2 days. We have about 80% of the building has moisture in the walls underneath the picture windows. Some of the corner units have moisture on the outside wall. So if it's the north facing wing, it'll be the north side. East facing the ocean, obviously, will be the that side. Anybody below the parking garage is pretty much protected by the parking garage. So I know as much as you hate looking at that thing, it does provide you guys some protection there. I know there's people that already started taking their sheetrock out. I know that we're waiting to hear back from the insurance agent about a full report, what they plan on covering, or if they do not want to cover it because of whatever reason, then we'll have a loss run. But we don't know which way they're going to go with it yet, so we have to wait to see what the insurance company says. I know a lot of people have been calling, kind of worried about what's going on. It's important that we all, are protecting our units as much as possible. I know that people were worried about the caulk in the past. We can't rule the fact out that the caulk isn't an issue. I talked to several people that do caulk on windows, and they say we don't really guarantee any of the work on the caulking because, it's Florida and you live by the beach. So, I mean, yeah, this rubber film around your windows is not going to protect you 100%. The people that did take down some of the sheetrock, and it rained since then, we realized that there was actually water coming through the block. So let's see, what pictures does it say? Did it impact units that caulked units offered from the HOA last year? Yes, most of the units that were caulked have been affected. That's how I know that it's not just, the new windows. It's not just the old windows. It's not just the people that caulked or the people that didn't caulk. It's not just the fact that we had a poor paint job last time we got the paint done. There's several factors. One of the things we can pretty much rule out is the roof. We don't have to worry about the water coming from a roof. A lot of the penthouses that had leaks or are showing cracks in the ceiling that have been from previous leaks, they don't have leaks anymore. Or if they do, it's coming in from the block and going down. I know the 8 stack was affected pretty seriously. Almost every apartment in the 8 stack has moisture in the walls, a decent amount. So I know Judy's there, Jack's there, I know Gino's there, I know Joanne's there. A lot of these people, reported leaks. I know 4 out of 5 board members had, leaks. I've been running around for a month with Christian, with fans and sheetrock knives, cutting stuff out, trying to take care of people that have been affected. We really haven't stopped. And then the adjuster was here, this week up until yesterday. And, I just want to let you guys know that we're doing the best we can to try to protect everybody. We know there was a handful of people before the storm that were affected, from Irma and from the fire and from, whatever the case may be. There was units, like 5 or 6 units that were affected. Then all of a sudden the storm happened and I had like 50 people calling me saying, hey, we have water. I need, more towels. I need fans. I need, I don't have a bucket, or, it was just endless, and we really haven't stopped. So if this wasn't a reason to file a claim, then I don't know what is. I've never filed a commercial insurance claim before. I know Nate works for commercial insurance, and he hasn't even filed a claim either. So 20 years experience, and we don't know this side of it. So we're learning. We're trying to figure it out. We're working together. We have some really good insurance agents working on this. We're all in communication. I'm trying to be as transparent as possible. I got all the pictures up on a Google Drive. I shared them with Angel, with the contractors, with the assessor, adjusters. Everybody has access to the stuff. I've been, making files for everybody and just documenting it, because until we can get this building fixed from the outside, there's no reason that we're going to put new sheetrock up, because they're going to have to come and power wash the building and do prep work, which is, I don't think that happened last time. When we painted. So in order to do a proper paint job, we have to power wash everything, which water is going to get in from the power washer. So there's no point of ripping everything down unless you've already done it and putting new sheetrock up, because it's just going to get wet again when we power wash. So we just ask everybody that has taken it down already to be patient and to keep an eye on it. You know, if we want to put, if, you know, we can put plastic up if we want to, you know, protect the wall from, you know, any dust or debris, whatever the case may be. But I really want to wait to hear back from the insurance company, because the restoration company, I guess, you know, it's a big game. Insurance is like, you know, some of the restoration companies like, you know, ServPro and Joe Taylor, these are big companies that they come in and they want the Joe Taylor, the guy that was here, they said, it's, you know, it's $100,000 for me to bring fans in here. I said, you know, we're not going to spend, we have $100,000 policy. So without even fixing the sheetrock, you know, we're looking at 100, you know, that's going to eat up all of our insurance money. So, you know, I'm trying to use my best judgment here to figure out, you know, who's trying to gouge us and who's just looking out for the best interest. And I know it's really hard in South Florida to gauge people, but you know, and it is an emergency situation. So we're, you know, time is of the essence. You know, we filed the claim 2 weeks after the storm, and now here we are a month later with, you know, a lot of the apartments that have water behind the walls. So we have to, the ball's kind of in the insurance company's hands now. The insurance is the biggest ticket item that we pay every year. So, you know, for us to be paying into it for so long and then not be able to use it when something happens, it doesn't make sense, you know, and like I said, I've never done this before, but it just seems like the right thing to do. So the way that this is going to work, the way that I see that it's working is, you know, we might have to put off the repairs of the sheetrock until we get the outside of the building fixed. So right now we have 4 quotes from engineers to do a full report of the building and come up with a spec for the paint and all the stucco and waterproofing. So we're going to do an analysis of the engineers that we got and look at their proposals and compare them apples to apples like Gene did last year, so that the board can make an informed decision about what engineer we're going to pick. Once we pick an engineer, they're going to do a full report. They're going to come out here with scaffolding, which brings up another point, is that every 6 months we have to do maintenance on our roof in order to keep our warranty with Almeida Roofing. We also have a 30-year warranty with the manufacturer, but every 6 months, Keith has to come here. It's like 15 or 20 cents per square foot. He said he's going to do it for free this time, because before they put the scaffolding up there, they want to take before pictures to make sure that we don't blame him for any holes in the roof that they may cause dropping tools or, you know, hooking the scaffolding up to our new roof. So that's going to happen first and foremost next year before they come out to do the full report.
Is that a contract, Tyler? Do we sign a contract?
Yes.
For him to come out every month?
Yes, it's every 6 months for Keith to come out. So we have a 6-year warranty with him. That if we don't do it every 6 months, then our warranty is void. So it's in the fine print that we have to do maintenance on the roof. It's like the generator. We put the generator in and we haven't done maintenance on it since we got it. Now we just signed up for maintenance. Every quarter they got to come and make sure that everything's working right. You know, we got all these new toys, but, you know, we have to maintain them. Otherwise, you know, they're sitting here by the beach, you know, on the ocean with the salt air and the sun beating on them every day. And they're not going to last forever if we don't take care of them. So, you know, we spend all this good money. You know, we have a lot of nice stuff now, but we have to maintain it and take care of it, just like everything else, the pipes, the roof, the generator, the fire pumps, you know, everything needs to be maintained. So we need to keep on top of that. And we are now. I think we're on a good schedule. So once they get up there with the scaffolding and they go on down every stack, they're going to ping the walls and pretty much tap on them to see if they're hollow. Any cracks that are bigger than a credit card, they cut out and they mark so that the engineer can come back and look at them and say, hey, okay, this place, you know, we need to dig into this wall. And if the wall is hollow or it looks, once they get in there, they see rebar is rusted, maybe they need to do a little bit more. So we have to get an idea of what kind of work we're looking at. What's the scope?
Tyler?
Yes,
Tyler,
sir.
hi. How you doing, Tyler? Dominic over in 203. How you guys doing?
Good, Dom. How are you?
Yeah, a quick question. So it sounds like they're going to pay anything over the $50,000 deductible. Is that correct?
Up to 100,000, correct.
Okay, up to 100,000. So what I'm thinking is this would be the time that we have that 50,000 to put it to not to put Band-Aids on the problems that we have.
No.
To use that money plus an assessment if we need. I mean, we living in an old building. We're gonna need and have to have assessments, but the assessments got to be used in an emergency, prioritizing in a real good way. So to put Band-Aids on this, and then in a few years we have another storm, we're back to zero. So I really think we really have to start doing things really, really good, even if it costs us more money on an assessment. In the long run, it will be benefit for everybody.
I couldn't agree more.
And
And that's what we're trying to do. That's really where my head's at. And I understand people's concerns about the finances, but honestly, the lowest bid is not the way to go. I mean, it never has been.
No.
And that's why we're in the position that we're in. And unfortunately, it's, we have to do our homework and monitor these guys. We got to be over their shoulder. If we pay for a good caulk or pay for good materials, we want to see that they're going on our building or in our building.
Where are we getting the first $50,000?
So that's where I was talking about before in the special assessment meeting, that we might have to have another one. I don't know until we get the report back if they're going to file, if they're going to proceed with the claim or not, but we are responsible for the first 50,000 deductible. So the way that I'm looking at it, it's about $300 per unit. Obviously the corners will be a little bit more.
So we're going to have 2 assessments this year, plus the 8% increase
An 8 to 35% increase.
That's not true.
It's
We
true.
don't
If it's
know.
fully funded, if it's
Wait a
fully
minute.
reserved, Gene, it's 35%. I went to public school in Ohio, but I can do the math.
I'm talking about the $50,000. I'm talking about the $50,000. We don't know where that's coming from. We won't know where that's coming from until we get the costs of what it's actually going to be. Then we will decide, are we going to take it out of the reserve budget? Are we going to have a special assessment? We don't know what that's going to be.
Right.
We will make that decision when we know the figures.
Right.
That's all I'm trying to say.
I don't want to surprise anybody. I know that, we don't like surprises, and, as hard as we work, unfortunately, sometimes it happens, but I just want to give you a heads up in case we do have to do it. I don't know if we're able to spend reserve money on deductibles. I know we weren't able to pay the taxes with reserves money. So I just want to be as transparent and upfront with everybody that, this is where we're at right now, and we're waiting to hear back from the insurance company with the report. So I'm just giving you, worst case scenario, any possible, options here that we might have to do, so that there's no surprises. I don't like surprises either.
Is it correct to assume that any assessment would apply to all of the owners, not just those who incurred damage?
Correct.
Of course.
Yep. We all pay into the insurance, and we all have an equal responsibility for a deductible. So,
Tyler, may I speak?
Yes, sir.
I'll be the devil's advocate. This restoration is not going to be cheap. So I agree with Claudia. If there's some frivolities that we should forego, we should forego it. Because I'm in the building industry and it's not going to be pleasant. Trust me.
So can you elaborate on that a little bit, please?
Well, first of all, people are looking for work, okay? And they're going to come at you, be aggressive because they're probably not making all that much money with this pandemic going on.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, they're going to be really, it's going to be expensive. And
right.
In order to do it right, you have to have the right team of engineers. Like we talked earlier today, you want them to be registered, you want to have good references and not pick pictures off a website that jobs they've done. And that's
Right.
costs money.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And I
Going
think-
low bid won't work.
No, absolutely not. And the people that we've been contacting, the engineers and the contractors, they have, 20-year working relationships. And, the reason that we've taken so long to get a hold of them is because they are sought after, and everybody on this island up and down A1A has been affected by this storm. So
exactly right.
Yeah, they want the work. And we can tell the people who are, who are hungry for it. And, sometimes, the people that are the ones that we want, they give us a higher bid because they don't necessarily need to work right now. So, but maybe those
that happens all the time.
So those we might want those people. So we might have to wait and do what we need to do to get to be a part of their team. So
Well, they'll have
Can I ask a
there'll be
question?
a lot of strong due diligence for this. There'll
Yes.
have to be, definitely.
There already has been. We've been planning for this for months already. We just, we haven't been able to come up with a solution. I mean, there's like a handful of people and I can name a few, off the top: 505, 1112, 1104. Most of the penthouses, we've been dealing with leaks for years now. And, honestly, that's where my understanding and patience comes from with these people, is because I know exactly what it's like to live with mold and water in my apartment, in my home, in my bedroom, with buckets, emptying them out, constantly, and towels and dripping. And, it's like torture. And nobody should have to do that. And I know we live in Florida, and, there's humidity and there's moisture, and but we can do everything in our power to make sure that we can protect ourselves, at least, for the next 6, 7, 8 years. I mean, we did this in 2013, and here we are 6 years later, 7 years later, doing it again. I mean, they say anywhere between 6 and 10 years. We're closer to 6 now because of, whatever happened. We want to make sure that doesn't happen again. And the people, you're only good as the people around you. So I'm trying to surround us with the best, so that we can continue and have a nice place to live and or vacation at.
Can I ask you something, Tyler?
Yes, sir.
So just 2 questions. I know that NASA House and Jamaica House recently had their concrete restoration. Have you looked into buildings around us and asked them, like the companies that they use, if they were reputable, if they were reasonable in their price?
Yes.
And if they did a good job? Because
Yes,
word of mouth is a good way to go. That's my first question.
Okay, let me just respond to that question, because I'm on an email thread with every president on the strip here. Well, most of the buildings. So we're constantly throwing questions back and forth, looking for recommendations or warning people about who not to use. Some of the contractors that we are talking to came from Sea Monarch, and I've called the president over there and the property manager, and they have nothing but good things to say about them.
That's great. Good job. The second question, I don't understand the insurance part of this. Maybe Nate can help me here. But I personally have hurricane insurance. So if a hurricane comes and affects my building, then my insurance, I would assume, would pay for that. So I don't know how that corresponds to the building insurance if there's a hurricane with all this water leakage. You know what I'm saying? Like, who's responsible? Is it the building insurance or is it my insurance? Because if it's the building insurance, then why am I paying for hurricane insurance?
You're responsible for the
Inside of them.
wall coverings in.
What?
So we're responsible for the sheetrock that goes to the exterior of the building. You're responsible for everything, the wall coverings, including paint in.
Oh, I see. So if water came in my unit from Hurricane Etna or Tropical Storm Etna, whatever it was, and it damaged the sheetrock and damaged all my furniture, then my insurance would cover me for the furniture and the building insurance would cover the sheetrock. Is that correct?
Right.
Yep.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
Sure. I'm actually trying to, I had one of the guys that went through the apartments with me. I had sent him an invite for the meeting. I'm just texting him right now to see if he can hop on. He's been doing this for years. He's got, licenses, and he's been going to court with people and fighting with insurance companies about this stuff. I'm just trying to see if he's available to log in here real quick and answer any questions, or kind of give us an idea of, how this works and the paths and the routes, the possible solutions here. So I'm just waiting to hear back from him. But if anybody else has any more questions that they want me to address, or anybody from the board to address, we can take those now.
Tyler?
Yes.
Tyler, it's Jim Wilkinson from 606.
Hey,
Hey,
Jim.
if we learned from any of the past missteps that we're not going to pay in full for work that's done and sort of parcel it out as a percentage once they get things complete?
Yes, that's, we're going to have a bond. We're going to be watching them like a hawk. We're going to, we got to send all these contracts to the lawyer and let them know, where we've been and where we want to go, because we don't want to go down the road that we went down before.
And Tyler, that's also part of the reason why you got engineers for that, to help with that information as well.
Right. See, I wasn't on the board in the past. I really don't know the history. I mean, I've heard horror stories and I know bits and pieces of it, but, I wasn't a part of that. And I'm doing everything I can every single day to make sure that whatever steps we take here and then over the next few years, if I'm on the board, then, you know, it's the right steps. Because right now we have, you know, thankfully for the pandemic, I know you don't hear that a lot, we have time to get our act together, and we could be the best building in this neighborhood if we just all work together and put energy and time and have committees next year where people are dedicated to, you know, coming together and saying, hey, like, you know, it's too much for the board to even carry this weight. I mean, we work day in and day out on the weekends, emailing back and forth till, you know, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, trying to figure out what's the best options and routes. You know, if we had more involvement from the community, we would be stronger. I mean, it's just no question about it. So, you know, that's next year, hopefully, if you know, if I get on the board, and you know, it'll be better to have more interaction. And I know it's tough, but we have Zoom now. I mean, we don't have to get in a room and have yelling matches. We can do it on the computer and try to get along and figure out what's the best path. You know, we have engineers, we have architects in the building, we have lawyers in the building. I mean, we have everything here in our building. We just need to talk to each other and communicate and make it work. So, you know, there's no question.
Can I ask for a clarification?
Yes.
In this meeting or the next meeting after the research, whatever the outcome of that meeting is, will that be a commitment for next year? Or is it for these 5 years that are listed in the 5 column that you
It's every year we do this, so it'll just be for next year.
One year.
1 year, yeah.
So the other year number 2, 3, 4, 5, that's not a decision made today, this year?
No,
It's just an estimate?
it's just trying to get an idea of where we're going. It's everything's subject to change, and the only thing we need to do to change it is, you know, to have a majority vote from the residents saying, okay, hey, we want it, and we have Becker ballots now. So if we want to, if, you know, God forbid we get slammed by, you know, an unknown storm, we say, okay, hey, guess what? We need to take that $180,000 that we have in the reserves and put that towards, you know, the unit that just crumbled, or, you know, the pool that needs to be, you know, whatever. We can always change gears. It's just that we need to work together as a community, like I said, to make those decisions. So yeah, this is just for 1 year out, but, you know, we try to plan for 20, 30, maybe 5 years out to get an idea. Yeah, we don't know what's going to happen, but it's always good to try to have a plan, and, you know, like a plan to be, as Howard said, a plan to be derived from. I mean, every plan is obviously anything that happens is we change gears. So, you know, it's best laid plans, but we try to have a plan so that we can get an idea.
Okay, I got it. Thank you. Thank you.
Tyler?
Yes.
Hi, it's Joanne. Hi, Joanne, 1008. You can hear me?
Yes.
I thank you for you doing a great job. Thank you for what you did. For one, we can't really wait very long here. We need to proceed because a lot of us have a lot of water in our units.
Right.
And we're worried about the mold now. So what do you think our time frame here is?
I got Gene from Gene Petrilli from Statewide Restoration. He's logging in right now. He's going to have a better idea of what's going on and the time frame of how it's going to happen. Mind you, like I said, you know, with our concrete restoration project and, you know, waiting on the insurance, you know, it depends on all that as well. But let's see if he's here. Gene, are you here?
Thank you.
He's trying to connect. You're welcome.
So Tyler, with the restoration, I would assume that would also include the painting of the building?
Correct. So our paint schedule is coming up. So, you know, as recommended, we do the concrete restoration before the paint schedule, which just makes sense.
And then I'm going to, if we're going to do that, are you planning on painting the catwalk and the doors as well?
We're going to address the stairwells and the chips and cracks in the catwalks as well, because, you know, while we're here, we don't want to, you know, go, you know, look over that or anything. And also the stairwells are required by code from the fire department that we fix those. So they'll be happy with us too. So that'll be good.
Yeah. Thanks.
Tyler Leo in 511. I've got a couple questions.
Yes,
It's on the same, not in the same matter, but not the specific topic of the building. With regard to notices, when people from maintenance and/or board members need access to the inside of the units, a couple of requests. Number one, this request went out from Stephen on a holiday weekend, giving only 2 days notice, spanning a 3-day period at some time of which within you would need to access, it says specifically, it says, an insurance adjuster will need to enter all units to determine which units were affected and assess the damage. So the first request is to try to get that notice out sooner. Second request,
Okay.
try to get it to cover a more finite period of time. That spanned 3 days. He said it would be from the 1st to the 3rd in his message. Third request, when we have those notices identify whether it is or is not an occurrence that would warrant the entry into the unit in the absence of someone who owns it or resides there. Meaning, this didn't say that. All it said was an insurance adjuster will need to enter all units to determine which units were affected and assess the damage. That doesn't
Right.
say you're going to enter without someone being here.
Right. So it's a tough spot for me too. And the insurance adjuster told me, you know, he said his boss said, you know, if don't go in any units, you don't have to go in. So he messaged me and said, hey, tell your maintenance guy to go in the units before I get there and tell us which ones are affected so that we can know which ones to go in. This is all on a holiday weekend, mind you. I mean, I do celebrate Thanksgiving too. So this is what I did on my holiday weekend, was try to figure out the best way to do that. And Christian has been running around this place like rampant. I'm driving him into the dirt with all this work and on top of the workload that he already has. So for me to ask him to go into every unit by himself, which is not allowed because you need a board member and, you know, somebody else to go in, you can't just go in by yourself. So for me to ask him to do that would be unfair and not right anyways. So what we had to do was just figure out a routine, get the layouts of all the apartments. And yes, I know there probably wasn't enough notice, or I know a lot of people wanted to schedule with me and try to figure out about what day or what time. Because of the emergency and the health hazard of the mold, you know, I felt like it was a necessary thing to just go in and just take pictures and figure it out. I apologize if I was intrusive and didn't give enough notice, but like I said, this is my first time doing this too, and I'm just trying to do what's best for the building. So I apologize, and you know.
Understood, but all I'm asking is not only could it be sooner, but could the notice say whether or not it is something that is perceived to warrant entry without presence? That way it's more clear. The way this one was written, it didn't say that people would be entering in the absence of someone that resides there. Either say that you're going to enter it with or without their presence, or don't write that, meaning that you're not going to attempt that. That way we know.
I understand.
My
Second
thing
question.
would be that if you guys enter in
Hold on. I'm not done.
Okay,
I have
Leo,
one more item.
apologize.
Allow me
Go
to
ahead.
finish. I'll be brief. Second request, to Christian's credit, when he brings the pest control guy around, he comes by first and gives a tap on the door. Then he comes back later, 5 to 10 minutes later, with the pest control representative. Could we ask that in these circumstances where you need access to the inside of the dwelling, please do not just knock and unlock.
Okay.
If someone's in bed asleep or if someone's in the bathroom, give them a reasonable amount of time to get to the door.
I understand.
Thank you.
My situation is that if you went to my apartment, since I am in Washington, like I said at the beginning of the meeting, I like to know, what did you see? I mean, because I don't mind that you went without my permission because you were on a good mission.
Right.
But the least I expect will be like, hey, we'll look at your place. Do you have this problem or everything is okay? Like a quick check-in, you know?
Do you
Is
think
that
I
possible?
I don't have time to address every individual resident with a report. That's what the insurance company is coming up with, a report.
Tyler, tonight, I think what would help is if you do enter our apartment, like you had asked me if it was okay to go into my apartment, and I said yes. But
Right.
I don't know if you went in and you didn't. And I'm checking my Wise camera, and now it's offline. So I don't even know. Did you go into the apartment?
Yes, the camera was working when we went in there. It was turning and moving and stuff.
But did you move? Did anything get moved? Because that's where I had a little bit of the water. So it's only my question, because then I would know to say, Christian, go back, make sure the camera's turning.
Right. Yes. I don't know exactly. I think we might have looked behind the couch. So yes, maybe it got unplugged or something on accident.
Okay.
So I'm sorry if that happened.
It's
and I'm
okay.
sorry,
It's okay. I would have liked to have known if you did go in or not. I know you asked me if you could, but it would have been helpful to know if you did or you didn't.
Okay, I understand. I'm sorry. Like I
No,
said.
no
I'm running
apologies.
around
It's
like
a lesson
crazy.
learned.
Just-
Come on.
It's
get
just
this thing
lesson
moving.
learned, Isla. It's a learning
Okay.
process for Saul.
Okay, just bear with me. I'm trying to get this, Gene Petrilli's trying to log in right now, 865-8848.
Need chocolate.
3935.
48, one person dropped out.
All right, 925-242, 925-242. All right, hang on. Okay, so let's, I'll continue with the agenda here. I think we might have covered everything, but let's just double check. Yeah, I think we pretty much covered everything. If you guys want to hang out and wait around, this guy's going to log in right now and talk about, you know, the restoration and how it works. I know a few things that I can tell you right off the bat is that some of the apartments that were affected, we may or may not have to do a mold test, which is like, I think a $500 test. They come in and do samples and they, you know, all these air scrubbers and all this other stuff. So I know that eats up a lot of the insurance money. So we're trying to figure out if we're going to have to do that or if we're not going to have to do that. And that's kind of, I think what the insurance adjusters will determine. And I guess if it's the number is not worth the contractors coming in, we can escalate it to another level where we have to go and fight and say, hey, you know, we have more damage than you guys are saying we did. And it could get really sticky. So that's why we kind of just have to let the insurance agents handle it and deal with the contractors as well. I know it would be nice to have 3 quotes from 3 different people, but like I said, to get 3 more people in there plus, you know, the 3 of us, it would have been too much.
What is this gentleman who's coming on? What is his title?
Yeah, I was going to say, who is he coming on?
His name is Gene Petrilli, and he is the owner of Statewide Restoration. It's a mold and restoration company at us right here in South Florida. And he was one of the guys that was in the apartments with us with the mold tester. He had the moisture tester. So he is
Tyler,
he's trying to get on. Yes.
this is Helen Wilkinson in 606.
Hi, Helen.
For the mold test,
Yes.
some people, when we dealt with this last year with our unit,
Yes.
and the insurance may pay for, individual insurance may pay for the mold test.
Okay.
Because we had the mold test and we had the mold remediation done, and insurance paid for that.
Okay. So you're saying
So-
you're
So
homeowners
for,
insurance
yeah,
or
except for the front wall. So if people that have major damage are getting mold, that could be possibly covered under their own insurance.
Right. Well, that depends on if they filed a claim or not, and I don't know.
Right.
We don't know that until people start reaching out. So, all right, I have Gene here. Gene, welcome to the meeting.
Thank you. Good evening.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks. How's everybody out there?
Excellent. We just kind of go over some of the information about the insurance claim. I let everybody know that we were in a majority of the units. And, I just kind of wanted if people have some questions, because I don't think we've ever done this before as an association, at least recently. So I just wanted to kind of go over a few things. Maybe we can start with, how this works and where we're at now and what to expect and kind of what avenues we might take moving forward.
Right. Well, I mean, obviously I think the inspections went well with the adjuster. He was, aware of everything we were pointing out and didn't seem to really have too many issues with it. But obviously, he's not the guy that authorizes, coverage or not. He just collects the information.
Right.
But he did seem obviously pretty receptive and very receptive of the things that. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
You hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so as I was saying, the adjuster, all that went well. Obviously, there was quite a bit of moisture that we did find in the majority of the units. Some of them having a little more than others.
Right.
But with that being said, that is, the typical things that we find. Obviously, this was through penetration through the windows and through cracks in the stucco outside. I know you guys are in the process of doing that.
Restoration.
And about to potentially get going with that. Yeah, the restoration work on the exterior, which is, the culprit. So in order to ensure that it won't come back, that would obviously need to be done as a final thing. We could do the remediation and all that, but unless we obviously correct the issue, it'll come back. So we know what it is, we know how it got in, and we know what to do to correct it. So
Okay.
that's half the battle. The other half will obviously, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just listening closer. No, I was just listening closer. I spoke to Sean, and he said that, now it's in the guy who makes the decisions on his desk. And I was just trying to explain to them, like, if it's not enough for you guys to come in, then we escalate it, I guess. Sean was saying something about that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, obviously there's other avenues, look, let's be honest with everybody here. Insurance companies are not in business to give money back. They're in business to keep their money.
Make money.
However, when they have no options per se to pay a claim, they obviously do. But when there's wiggle room, or if they feel there's something that's been neglected or long term, they do have the ability to make it hard. Not that it's the end of all ends. We then would pursue, we'd have to go after them in a legal matter. And there's nothing wrong with that. They don't take offense to it. They're not mad at you for doing it. It is, that's why they have lawyers and adjusters out there to protect the consumer, because they know that the insurance carriers are, supposed to be on our side. But let's face it, if they could pay $5 rather than $10, I assure you they would rather and be happy to pay the $5. But if you can show them, and we can show them that $10 is due, they then gracefully, abide. But we haven't even gotten there yet. So
Right.
They have, by law, they have 90 days to respond. Maybe on a commercial policy, I got to check that. It could be 45.
Right.
But they have a minute to do their assessment. They have another minute to do their evaluations back in the office, talking and consulting in there. They start to earmark this kind of project. They start to get a couple more people involved, and they'll determine coverage. Sometimes it's easy when you have a fire or a lightning bolt or a flood. Those things are pretty much undeniable. There are wiggle rooms in that they can try. I don't perceive that, but again, insurance carriers, that's their game. And
Right.
again, if that is, and that ends up being the case, we can certainly go alternative routes to try to get them. Once they pay one, I can get with, and that's how the process goes.
Right. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Yeah. go ahead.
I
You
do.
want to talk anything about?
Was it determined that
Yeah.
that the majority of the water came in through the facade of the building or from the windows, or a combination of both? Was one more or less more than the other?
I would say your second part was correct. More of a combination of both windows and cracks in the stucco. Correct.
Thank you.
And don't forget the windows are going to be the caulking to the metal framing. That's all going to be done as part of your restoration work. So the metal frame of the window that touches the stucco, all that caulking is all deteriorated and gone. Not necessarily, the tap cons could also be part of the windows leaking, but all that'll be really investigated thoroughly. When the drywall's out, we'll be able to see that as well, where the leaks would generally come from, because they generally leave stains and marks down the side of the block wall put together, which is called the mullion, or will it be on each of the corners of the window? So it'll give us a better idea once the drywall is actually removed.
Thank you.
Does anybody else have any
Yes, ma'am.
questions? I really appreciate you coming on tonight, Gene. I know you're a busy guy and you've been running around like crazy. I told everybody how many buildings have been affected, and I'm sure my numbers are low as well, but I really do appreciate you coming out and talking.
Yeah.
We're waiting to
Yeah,
hear
question.
Absolutely, anytime.
Yeah, we're waiting to hear back from the adjuster, and I figured that it would be good to
I got a
go ahead.
question for Tyler. I have a question for the gentleman.
Go ahead.
Dominic
Yes.
again. It's 203. Yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's obvious. It's either the caulking in the windows and the cement cracks combination.
Correct.
There's no doubt. Now,
Correct.
I got a couple of questions. One, so say we correct the problem on the outside, and I would think when they'll caulk all the windows regardless, because if you're outside and you're doing all of that work, you would do all the windows. All right. So you're going to do the restoration with the cement. We're eliminating the roof, so we're saying, okay, it's not the problem with the roof. So my question is
Correct.
this now. So what if we take care of all the stuff on the outside, but during this time, the insurance companies, I think you're supposed to like stop and prevent things from getting worse. So if we just take our time and doing all this stuff on the outside, the inside work, the sheetrock and stuff, and my question goes out to the woman in 606, did they actually have mold? Are we actually having mold now? And the other part of that is the inside sheetrock is going to get wet and dirty. Now, do we have insulation there? Not for heat, but I'm sure for maybe for cooling purposes. Is there insulation in the walls besides the metal stud and the cement?
No, sir. Unfortunately, they didn't use insulation there.
Right. So with that said, there's not much mold can grow on just cement and metal studs. So my point is maybe we should like open up these walls, clean them up, dry them out to prevent the mold, do the outside. I know it'll be inconvenience and it won't look so pretty. Do the outside, and then maybe even have some inside people and stuff that can handle sheetrock, spackle, and paint, where we don't need to be a registered and insured contractor, because it's your inside, you only work. So I think that should be the process. And correct me if I'm wrong.
Hey, Dominic.
Yeah.
Dominic, it's Jim from 606, right?
Oh, yes.
So when we pulled the sheetrock off, do you have carpeting by your wall?
No, I don't.
Okay. If somebody has carpeting, guess what gets wet?
I
And
did.
guess what gets moldy? And
I
then
did.
the furniture,
no
if
doubt.
it gets wet, if the furniture gets wet, the feet of it, and it goes up there, depending on the kind of furniture, that gets wet. It gets moldy.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's not just the sheetrock and there's, in the studs behind it. It's more to it than that.
And moisture.
Yes.
And moisture gets in and then starts seeping to the wall, if you will, that goes to your front door. It's like a whip.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's one of the big disadvantages of carpet. I learned that back home in my house up north. And I said to myself, we had a flood down our basement. And I says, I'll never put carpet below grade again, So I know it's a problem, but I think that your homeowner's insurance would cover you. I think your carpet and your furniture, I think.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
It
That is
does,
correct.
and the mold to that extent,
And the
depending
mold,
on your
yeah.
policy.
Yeah, we're all up against, it's not an easy task, but again, like I said before, we really have to go at it full bore, 100%. To do this again in the next few years or the next time we have a hurricane, it will be wasting our money. So I think whatever it's going to take for everybody to go after this and get it done, surround our buildings from the outside, because that's where we have to start. We got a new roof. We're surrounded all on the outside, get it all up to date. And then we can work on the plumbing and the pipes and all that other stuff,
Enough.
Yeah, Dom, I totally agree. This is Virginia. Yes, I agree.
Yeah. Hi, Virginia.
Hi.
Okay.
Yeah, you raise an excellent point. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So Gene, do you have anything to say about that?
No, I mean, if you have another question, I mean, there was a few thrown out there. I wasn't sure if you want to circle back to them at all as far as the, he had a good point about the exterior, that if it doesn't get corrected first, which I kind of mentioned in the beginning, that is the culprit. Now, obviously, I would also imagine that not as much water is leaking in now as it was during the storm.
Right.
Correct.
So that's why we are getting, still some moisture readings. So there's no doubt that there's still, and it is the responsibility of to mitigate the damages from getting worse, which would mean to protect the home from getting worse.
Right.
So that would be the first order. As far as the mold goes, as a licensed mold guy, I will disagree on that, but this is your building and it's your home. You can do whatever you want in your place. No one can tell you anything different. However, as a licensed mold guy, I will tell you that any of those walls that do demonstrate and are suspect of mold, and I would say that was most of the majority, as most of them visually demonstrated, damaged sheetrock in some form or fashion. It doesn't get like that unless it has been compromised more than once with water. So it's not the question on whether there's mold there. I'm not sure. I apologize. I don't remember your name when you were speaking, but
Dominic. Yep.
Dominic, the horse is out of the barn already. So it's not a question of whether, it's whether there is or isn't. If there's water there and it's demonstrations of stains and buckling baseboards or blistering drywall, it's going to be there, and it should simply be removed by a remediator. If you wanted to go in your own apartment and demo out your own walls and do your own, no one can, I guess, stop you. Maybe the walls belong to the building. I can't really get into that, but I will differ with your opinion on having just a handyman per se go in and tear out drywall. There could be significant, serious repercussions on the back end of that if the building were to hire an unlicensed contractor to handle a known mold area, that if someone were to then get sick later, it would, the lawsuits that would arise from it would be
Can I ask a question?
I agree. That was my question. I wasn't sure about the mold,
And you should possibly, and as direct, consult with your attorney on that, as far as the difference of having a licensed mold guy go in and do the remediate. If you want to have and listen, by code, you're supposed to have licensed people in there regardless. But I think your attorney would advise you strongly.
Right. Yeah, well, that was my
Tyler,
question.
can you hear me? 901.
Yes, sir. I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Thanks, Tyler. Anyway, thanks for doing this.
Yeah,
My
no
question
problem.
is very simple. I'd like to go back with the insurance and our policy.
Yes.
From my understanding is that we have a $50,000 deductible. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah. What I don't seem to understand is that we have a maximum of $100,000. Is that correct?
That it's $100,000 policy. That's correct.
Okay, that seems very low for me, because restoration and all that work that needs to be addressed, I mean, it's going to go much higher than this $100,000. So we're talking about, we have $50,000 to play with.
Yes, exactly. And I think it's because, most of South Florida, when the storms happen, get water intrusion. I mean, most of the buildings and homes. So, Nate, and correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, it's a huge issue for everybody down here.
Some policies don't even cover it.
Right.
Yeah, but
Well,
I think the confusion is, he said $100,000 for restoration. That is not for restoration. The $100,000 limit is for wind-driven rain only. It's not for restoration of the building.
Correct.
Okay. So can we be more precise on what that implies? I mean, if it's just,
Yep, I can post a copy of the policy, I think, to the portal if you guys want to check it out. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to do that or not, but I'd like to be as transparent as possible. So, and we can talk to the adjusters and and dig into that a little bit more too. But as far as my understanding is for $100,000 for wind-driven rain. So it's going to include the sheetrock, which the building is responsible for, and probably any mold remediation that is included that, that needs to be done. So that mold testing, air scrubbers, fans. I don't know, Gene, you probably know way more, tools and toys that they use to take care of this stuff, but I'm sure all that stuff is covered under the $100,000.
You based.
Will you, is there a report?
I can't hear you, dear.
Well, is there a report or will there be a report?
Yes.
Per,
Yeah, as Gene said before, it's anywhere between 45 and 90 days. I know that they're trying to get it out in a couple weeks here. So I think in 2 weeks or so, we're going to have some answers, I hope.
Tyler, the question was per unit. And
I can't hear you. So I'm sorry I didn't hear that part.
Oh, no. Will there be a report submitted per unit?
I don't know how it works. Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah, every unit was clearly documented and photographed. Every unit was documented and photographed. So every unit will have its own individual written estimate, every single one.
And when will we get that?
As soon as it comes out.
As soon as the adjuster gets all this paperwork together and they sit at the desk and turn it over to the desk adjuster and they say, yes, this is a covered loss. Let's get these people indemnified.
To clarify, not every unit, only the units where damage was observed.
That's correct. Every unit that we went into, thank you for clarifying that. I thought that was a given, but yes.
But I thought earlier they said they went into every unit. Now I'm confused. Did you go to all units? Or did you not?
No, I apologize. When I said every unit, it was every unit that we entered that Tyler took us into. So everyone, how many were there, Tyler, approximately?
We have 152 units. So I think there was only, a couple, maybe a dozen or if not more that we didn't go in. There's some people that didn't want us to go in, some people that are sick or that have elderly people that just weren't home or, there was a number of cases that we didn't go in. So, we went in a majority of them.
Okay, so that means like if I wasn't there, you didn't go because I wasn't there?
No, we went in apartments that people weren't here. That's correct. We went in your apartment probably, yes.
Okay. All right. So you were not allowed into a few and those are the only few you didn't go into. Those
correct.
You could,
yes, that's correct.
With or without permission, you went.
Yes, it was an emergency. I'm looking out for the benefit of everybody that lives.
No, I don't actually. Thank you for going into my
You're
place.
welcome.
I don't have a problem. I don't have anything to hide. Okay, so you won't know many times.
No worries.
But I just want to know if you went, and I should expect a report and an estimate, rough estimate of when.
Yes, we're going to provide you with that as soon as we get it. Like I said, I've never done this before, so it depends on when they get back to me. As soon as I get it, it'll be posted.
How long do we as homeowners have before we can put a
correct.
claim in with our own insurance company?
That's a good question. I don't know that answer.
Well,
say that again. I'm sorry. What was that question?
The question was, if we have to wait for the adjuster and you and whoever else we have to wait for, how long do the homeowners have before they can submit a claim on their own homeowners insurance?
Tomorrow.
Right. I'm thinking of it myself now, actually.
So if your floors and you have laminate floors and they got damaged, you need to call your carrier. If you have wallpaper and obviously even the painting, to be honest with you, not going to be covered by the HOA. That is your own personal insurance. So any of your flooring or paintwork and baseboards.
I was actually there for the storm.
Okay.
So I got very minimal water coming in.
Right. All right. So then you might not need to file a claim with your own homeowners because you only had minimal damage. You might have tile floors that get damaged. You only have a little drywall.
That's my question.
Correct.
So how do you know how long we can wait before we have to notify our insurance company? obviously you went with the
You have 3 years to notify your insurance company.
Okay.
You have 3 years to notify your carrier.
Okay, perfect, thanks.
All right.
When there's a storm, you have 3 years to notify your carrier.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So
For
I'm gonna move.
for any latent defects.
So I'm going to move on to the next agenda item, which is sheetrock and con. Yes, sir.
Just want to be clear because I think there's some confusion. The inspectors and the claim for insurance and whatever is only for the exterior wall that the association is responsible for. If you have any damage inside your unit other than the exterior wall, and you want to file a claim, that's your own insurance.
Correct.
So it doesn't matter when we do the outside wall. That's all we're responsible for. You need to, look at any other damage inside your unit, and that's when you contact your insurance.
Yes, but to my point, Dean, was I know I only got minimal water in my eyes, but I didn't go up against my wall with a mole meter.
Right.
So in order for me to determine if I need
Right,
to
right.
put
Well,
a
that's going to be
plan or
covered.
not,
That's going to be
I
covered.
would need to wait until the report is ready, since they went into my unit. You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
Okay.
All right. I think everybody's clear. If anybody has any questions, please speak up. And we're going to be keeping you guys posted on what's going on with this so that everybody's in the loop. There's no secrets here. It's all transparent. And, we want to work together with, the people that have been helping us. And, I wanted to, bring Angel up to speed with this too. We've been handling this every day. Like I said, for the past month, we haven't stopped. So yeah, I appreciate you, Gene, for coming on. This time I'm going to continue on to the next agenda item, which is concrete and sheetrock restoration. I think we already covered that. So the next thing is open forum. Like I said, does anybody have any questions or comments or new business? Okay. And,
Before I go,
what's that?
anything from me, or should I? Anything
No,
from me?
you're
Are we
good,
done?
bud.
You still need
You're
me, or
good, bud.
what do you want to do?
You're all set, but I'll keep you
I'm good.
posted when we get the report.
Okay, bye.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Bye, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Gene.
Thank you.
Okay. Have a good night, everyone.
Thanks, you too, buddy.
Bye. Everybody. Bye. Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Of course. Bye, all.
Bye. All
Okay,
right, so
bye, Tyler.
the next meeting is going to be 7 p.m. Thursday, January 28th, 2021 via Zoom. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn this.
Tyler, before you adjourn, that your next meeting will probably be your.
Oh, that's true.
The budget meeting.
The next
Right,
meeting
yeah.
that we know about. So I don't know.
The next one, scheduled meeting, yes,
The
but
next
we will,
scheduled meeting
we will
is-
notify everybody with a 48-hour notice.
Correct. But until then, our next scheduled meeting is going to be January 28th, 7 p.m. Thursday, 2021 via Zoom. I'd like to make a motion.
That's the annual meeting, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just for this thing, I wanted to bring up something while we have a bunch of people online.
Okay.
The annual meeting is going to be held by Zoom, and we just wanted to make sure that we are going to need 3 or 4 people to volunteer. Those people are not running for the board, have not put in their name to run on the board.
Yeah.
And what we're going to do is Angel will be on site to be able to count the ballots. And what we want is those 3 or 4 people that will be there to help count, so that we have complete transparency and there's no questions on, sides or anything. So that you do not have to put in now. You can send me an email, as we said before, and say, hey, I'm interested. And then what we'll do is we'll just throw all those names of people who are interested, who will be here during that January 28th meeting to give themselves over to help us count the votes for the annual meeting.
Awesome. I want to thank everybody for being respectful tonight and really, getting along. I think we're making progress as a community, and I think we have a bright future ahead of us. So let's keep up the good work here.
It's going. We're just wrapping up our.
Thank you.
Stephen, get us
Thank you
those
so
11
much
votes,
for all that
buddy.
you guys are doing for us that aren't there. So we appreciate it.
Thank you.
worries.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Tyler,
thank all
motion
of
to,
you.
Motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Virginia.
Yeah, this is Virginia. I second the motion.
Virginia,
to adjourn.
second. All in favor? Aye.
I,
Yeah,
All right.
I think,
Nate,
you, everyone.
don't abstain to this. We're leaving.
I think Jack's speaking, but he's muted.
All right.
Oh,
We'll take that as a yes. All right. You guys have a wonderful night. Thank you, everybody, for coming and participating and being here. We really appreciate you guys and all your support. So
Thank you. Same to
Good
you.
night,
Good evening.
good night, everyone. Safe
Good
Good night, everybody.
Thank you,
Okay,
guys.
good night, everybody, and thank you for participating. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.